Okay, let's get right into it. We are diving into a highly practical, absolute no-nonsense roadmap for conquering the CEH v13 exam. Look, if you are aiming for that top-tier score, like that 92.8% benchmark we so often see targeted, you literally cannot just rely on theory. You need to build real-world muscle memory. So consider this explainer your ultimate tactical playbook to actually get there. We've structured this explainer into 5 key areas. We're going to cover the new AI era, the core hacking methodology, how to build your own practice lab, leveraging AI tools, and finally, executing on test day. So, kicking things off with Section 1, the CEH v13 AI era. What makes version 13 fundamentally different for anyone training to enter a remote security operations center, or SOC, is this massive evolutionary leap. We are looking at a jump to over 4,000 tools, but more importantly, the integration of artificial intelligence is delivering a staggering 40% efficiency boost in your workflow. Seriously, you aren't just learning to hack anymore. You are learning to hack with AI as your co-pilot. To master these new AI-driven skills, the EC Council introduced a really strict 4-phase learning framework. First, you learn the concepts across 20 modules and over 200 hands-on labs. Then, you certify that knowledge. Next up, you engage in an emulated, totally real-world hacking assignment. And finally, you compete in monthly global capture-the-flag challenges, just to keep those skills razor-sharp against modern threats. Moving right along to Section 2, the 5 phases of hacking. Now, these are the foundational steps used by both malicious attackers and ethical defenders out in the wild. You absolutely must master these 5 phases, all the way from initial reconnaissance and scanning right down to clearing your tracks. They form the backbone of your training, the exam itself, and frankly, your daily reality as a remote SOC analyst. You've got to know exactly how the attacker moves if you want to stop them. Alongside those phases, you also need to wrap your head around the cyber kill chain. Originally adapted from Lockheed Martin's military targeting methodology, this is a distinct 7-phase model used to map out exactly how cyber attacks unfold. It basically takes the 5 phases we just discussed and applies this rigorous, tracking-focused framework that, by the way, is heavily tested on the exam. All right, on to Section 3, building your home lab. This is where the magic happens. This is where we transition from theory to actual execution. And I absolutely love this point from our sources. You do not need to wait for someone to hire you before you start doing the job. A home lab is your personal remote SOC training ground. It's where you build that crucial muscle memory using tools like Nmap and Wireshark to analyze live network traffic. Now, when we break down the costs, you might think you need a ton of expensive gear, but a virtual home lab is the undeniable starting point. With just virtualization software like VirtualBox and a decent chunk of RAM on your laptop, you can set up a complete testing environment for literally $0. No expensive hardware required to get your hands dirty. To do this right, your lab should actually mirror a real security team. You're going to need 3 specific virtual machines: an intentionally vulnerable target, something like Metasploitable, an attacking machine running Kali Linux, and a defender machine running a SIEM like Security Onion. This specific setup is awesome because it allows you to launch an attack and then immediately pivot over to see exactly what it looks like on the defensive monitoring side. And once you're comfortable in that lab environment, you can really start extending your penetration testing toolkit. Writing your own custom automation scripts in Python allows you to automate vulnerability assessments and analyze complex malware behavior way faster. Honestly, this is the exact type of skill that separates a complete novice from a highly effective ethical hacker. Which brings us nicely to Section 4, the generative AI advantage. We are looking at a massive new leverage point in version 13 here. The curriculum now specifically focuses on hacking AI systems based on the OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities, while also teaching you that utilize powerful generative tools like ShellGPT, FraudGPT, and WormGPT. Basically, you are learning to use AI as both a weapon and a shield. So it begs the question, how exactly do these tools shift the day-to-day landscape of a real penetration test? Well, it's not just about asking a chatbot a quick question. It's about deep, seamless integration right into your workflow. Take tools like ShellGPT, for example. They use natural language processing to intuitively interact directly with the command line interface. This vastly accelerates complex, tedious tasks like network probing, analyzing packet captures, and executing exploits in real time. Solid prompt engineering isn't just a gimmick anymore. It's a core ethical hacking skill. Finally, let's wrap up with Section 5, Tactical Exam Execution. Let's talk test day.
Because knowing the material is only half the battle. Executing under pressure is the rest of it. You are going to be facing a grueling theoretical exam consisting of 125 multiple-choice questions spanning a 4-hour duration. Let me be clear. This is an endurance event as much as it is a knowledge test, and managing your mental fatigue is going to be your biggest hurdle.
When you do the math, that means you have an average of exactly 1.9 minutes to read, analyze, and answer each scenario-heavy question. Time management here is absolutely critical. You have to aggressively use the process of elimination to handle difficult questions without panicking. Pro tip, flag the massive scenario questions, skip them, and come back to them later so you don't burn the clock early on. To ensure you're completely ready, we recommend following a strict 12-week timeline. This systematically moves you from core fundamentals like reconnaissance and scanning right into web apps and cryptography. Then you hit emerging tech like AI and cloud, and finally, you dedicate the entire last 2 weeks exclusively to full-length mock exams and aggressively reviewing your weak areas. So after building your lab, mastering prompt engineering, and following this 12-week tactical playbook, you have the exact roadmap to that 92.8% benchmark. But as generative AI continues to evolve at breakneck speed, the real question is this: will you be the one commanding the algorithms, or just the one defending against them? Get out there and start building that muscle memory.